There is a moment coming for you. Maybe it's already here. A phone call you didn't expect. A person who was supposed to stay who didn't. A decision that gets made about your life without asking your permission first. And in that moment, something in your chest is going to tighten, and your mind is going to start spinning, and you are going to feel like the ground just moved. Most people break in that moment. Not because they're weak, because nobody ever taught them how to stand there and not fall. This video is about the one rule that changes that. Not a trick. Not a breathing exercise you'll forget by Thursday. A single shift in how you see reality, taught over 2,000 years ago by men who buried children, lost fortunes, got exiled, and still walked through their days without shattering. If you came here because you're tired of feeling like your emotions run your life instead of the other way around, you're in the right place. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you're going to understand exactly why some people seem unbreakable and why you can become one of them. Let's start with the truth nobody wants to hear. You are not upset because of what happened to you today. You are upset because of the story you told yourself about what happened. Sit with that for a second, because it sounds simple, but it's the most misunderstood idea in the entire history of human suffering. A man named Epictetus figured this out almost 2,000 years ago, and he didn't figure it out in comfort. He figured it out as a slave. His leg was broken by his own master, and by most accounts, he watched it happen without begging, without screaming, without making the moment bigger than it needed to be. Later in life, once he was free, he taught one idea over and over until his students could recite it in their sleep. It is not things that disturb us. It is our opinion about things. Read that again. Not the event. Your opinion of the event. The bill you can't pay doesn't destroy your peace. What destroys your peace is the sentence running through your head that says, "This means I'm failing. This means I'm behind. This means something is wrong with me." The person who ignored your text doesn't ruin your night. The story you build around it does. They don't care about me. I'm not important to anyone. I always end up alone. None of that came from the phone. All of it came from you. This is either the most liberating sentence you'll hear all year, or the most uncomfortable one. Because if your emotions come from your interpretation, that means you have been the one doing this to yourself. Not other people, not circumstances. You. But stay with me, because this is not a video about blaming yourself for suffering. This is a video about taking your power back. If you built the storm, you can also learn to build the calm. Here's where most people get it wrong when they hear this idea for the first time. They think being emotionally unshakable means feeling nothing, numbing yourself, walking around like a stone with no pulse behind it. That's not Stoicism. That's just suppression. And suppression always finds a way to leak out later, usually at the worst possible time, on the people who least deserve it. The goal was never to stop feeling. The goal was to stop being ruled. There's a difference between a wave hitting you and a wave drowning you. Emotion is going to hit you. Grief is going to hit you. Anger is going to hit you when someone disrespects you, when life feels unfair, when you watch something you worked years for fall apart in a single afternoon. The wave is not optional. Whether it drowns you is. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the entire known world at the time, a man who could have anyone killed with a single word, wrote to himself almost every night. Not for anyone else to read, just for himself, in the dark, trying to hold his own mind together while an empire and a plague and betrayal from people close to him tried to pull him apart. And one of the things he kept telling himself over and over, was that he had power over his mind, not outside events. Once he understood that, he wrote. He found strength. He wasn't born calm. He trained for it, every single night. That's the part people skip. They want the peace without the practice. They want to feel unshakable without ever doing the boring, repetitive, unglamorous work of catching their own thoughts in the act. So here's the real question, and I want you to actually answer this in your head right now, instead of scrolling past it. The next time something goes wrong today, are you going to react to the event, or are you going to react to the story you build about the event in the 4 seconds right after it happens? Because those 4 seconds are where everything gets decided. Most people never even notice those 4 seconds exist. The trigger happens and the reaction fires, and it feels instant, automatic, like there was never a choice in it at all. But there was. There always is. It's just so fast that it hides itself from you. In the next part, I'm going to show you exactly what happens inside that 4-second window, and the specific method the Stoics used to slow it down so they could choose their response instead of getting hijacked by it. Because once you can see that gap, you can never unsee it again. And that's the moment everything starts to change. If this is already hitting something in you, stay with me. Let's go back to that 4-second window, because this is where your entire life either gets built or gets wasted. Something happens. A text comes in. A tone in someone's voice shifts. A number in your bank account looks smaller than it should. And in the space between that moment and your reaction, there is a gap. It's tiny. Most people never even know it's there, but the Stoics spent their entire lives training themselves to see it, because inside that gap is the only real freedom a human being has. Here is what actually happens in that gap, whether you notice it or not. Your mind takes the raw event and instantly attaches a judgment to it. Not later. Right there, in real time, faster than you can think the word faster. Someone doesn't reply to your message, and your mind whispers they're pulling away from me. Someone gets promoted instead of you, and your mind whispers, I'm not good enough. The event is neutral. The judgment is not. And the second that judgment lands, your body reacts to the judgment as if it were fact. This is the part nobody tells you. Your nervous system doesn't respond to reality. It responds to what your mind tells it reality is. Which means 2 people can go through the exact same event and walk away with completely different emotional damage, based entirely on the 4 seconds of storytelling that happened in between. So how do you actually work with this? Not in theory. In your actual life. Today, the next time something sets you off. The first move is naming it before you feel it. Sounds strange, but it works because your brain cannot fully panic and fully observe itself at the same time. The instant something happens, before you let the spiral start, say to yourself, silently, this is an event, and I am about to add a story to it. That's it. That single sentence interrupts the automatic chain reaction. It doesn't stop the feeling. It slows it down enough for you to choose what happens next, instead of getting dragged by it. The second move is separating the fact from the fear. Write it down if you have to, even just in your notes app. On one side, what actually happened, just the bare event, no adjectives. On the other side, what you're afraid it means. 9 times out of 10, when you separate those 2 columns, you'll notice the fact is small, and the fear is enormous. He didn't text back for 6 hours is the fact. He's losing interest, and I'm about to get hurt again, is the story sitting on top of it, dressed up as truth. Seneca understood this better than almost anyone in history, And he wasn't writing from some peaceful mountain retreat. He wrote a huge amount of his surviving work while living under the rule of Nero, a man who eventually forced him to end his own life. Seneca knew, better than most people alive today, that suffering shows up twice. Once when the thing actually happens, and a second time, usually worse, when your imagination runs ahead of it and rehearses every terrible outcome before it even arrives. He said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality," and he wasn't being poetic. He was describing something he had lived through over and over and trained himself to catch. That's the third move, and it's the one most people resist the hardest. Stop rehearsing the worst case as if it's already happening. Your mind will try to protect you by simulating disaster in advance, thinking that if it prepares for the worst won't hurt as much when it arrives. It's a trap. All it does is make you suffer the pain twice, once in your head today, and once for real later if it even happens at all. Most of what you're bracing for right now never actually shows up. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable, because being emotionally unshakable is not about staying calm when things are easy. Anyone can be calm on a good day. The real test is what you do the moment someone insults you, disrespects you, or tries to pull you into their chaos. There's an old idea that gets passed around a lot without anyone explaining what it actually means. The best response to someone trying to provoke you is to refuse to become like them. Not because you're weak, and not because you're avoiding conflict. Because the second you match their volume, their anger, their panic, you've handed them control of your nervous system. They didn't win the argument. They rented space in your head for free, and you let them move in. Think about the last time someone said something that got under your skin. Really think about it. In that moment, who was actually in control? Was it you, or was it whatever they said? If a single sentence from another human being can flip your entire mood for the rest of the day, that means you've given them more power over your inner world than you have over it yourself. That should bother you. It should bother you enough to change something. This is where the 4-second window becomes your entire life's advantage. Because once you can see it, once you know it's there, you get to choose. Not perfectly, not every time. Nobody does this perfectly, but enough times, consistently, that it starts to reshape who you are. You stop being the person who explodes and regrets it an hour later. You stop being the person who replays the same argument in their head for 3 days straight. You become the person other people describe as hard to rattle, and they won't even know why. They'll just notice that things that would wreck most people seem to slide right off you. That's not because you stopped caring. It's because you stopped handing your peace over to every random event that happens to you. Marcus Aurelius wrote something to himself that applies here more than almost anything else in his entire journal. He said, "Nowhere can a person find a retreat more peaceful, more free of interruption than in their own soul." He wasn't talking about a vacation. He was talking about the fact that you carry a place inside you that nothing external can actually touch unless you let it in. Not an army, not an enemy, not a bad diagnosis or a broken relationship or a failed year. That place stays untouched, but only if you know it's there and you actually go to it, instead of living entirely at the mercy of whatever happens to you next. So here's what I want you to do. Starting today, not someday, not when things calm down, because things are never going to calm down on their own. The next time something hits you, pause before you speak, just for a second. Long enough to ask yourself, is this the event, or is this the story I'm building on top of it? That question alone, asked consistently, will change more about your emotional life than any amount of forcing yourself to stay positive ever could. You're not trying to feel nothing. You're trying to stop being owned by every 4-second reaction your mind fires off before you've even had a chance to think. Emotional strength was never about being untouched by life. It was always about staying the author of your own response, no matter what gets thrown at you. If this changed the way you see your own reactions, even a little, that's the whole point of putting this out into the world. If you want more of this kind of thinking, the kind built on ideas that have survived thousands of years because they actually work, hit like on this one, drop a comment with the word you needed to hear today, and subscribe to Stoic Origin so the next one finds you. Share this with someone who's been carrying more than they should be carrying alone. You already have everything you need to stay standing. You just have to remember, it's yours.